The accomplishment of an aim or a purpose. That is the definition of success. So when it comes to rap music, how exactly would you measure it? A common metric that the industry uses is first week sales and #1 albums, but these can be deceptive. Many artists achieve these goals, and whilst it's obviously impressive, they are only the illusion of success. Even awards as prestigious as the Grammys can be a misconception, and this video will explain exactly why. You can find 2 examples of first week sales and #1 albums being deceptive in just the last few months alone. However, we'll begin with the one that is more excusable. On August the 23rd, Travis Scott re-released his iconic mixtape, Days Before Rodeo, a project that fans have wanted on streaming services for a very long time. Alongside the tape, Travis had vinyls, CDs, and other merchandise bundled with the project that fans of his could purchase. As well as this, he also sold digital deluxe versions of the project that featured unheard songs from this era. Basically, he was doing everything he could to increase the numbers. This re-release was a massive success for Travis, as the album sold 361,000 units first week. Yet, this wasn't enough to obtain the #1, as Sabrina Carpenter narrowly beat the artist to the top spot. And, to make matters worse, the album sales declined by 94.7% in the following week, making it the biggest percentage decline on the Billboard 200 this decade. Funnily enough though, he would end up getting the heavily desired #1 in the 3rd week, as most of the vinyls shipped then, meaning he sold 156,000 units in the project's 3rd week of releasing. It would end up completely dropping off the Billboard in the 5th week, which makes it one of the projects that have charted for the least amount of time. You may think this is a load of nonsense, as Travis Scott is basically a household name at this point, and the project was just a re-release of something most people have already heard, so to say he's not been successful would be absurd. And I see your point, so let us take a look at a smaller artist who has only burst onto the scene in recent years. Yeat. Now I'm sure most of you are familiar with the young artist who has took the industry by storm. Ever since his debut, his music has been improving, depending on who you ask I guess, and his numbers have increased alongside his ability. So, on October the 18th of this year, Yeat would release his album Lifestyle, which gave him the #1 spot that is so commonly desired. And in similar fashion to Travis Scott, he would mainly achieve this through the loophole that is bundles and digital exclusives. Merchandise for the project was bundled together with physical and digital copies of the album, and in order to increase the sales even further, Yeat would sell CDs with tracks exclusive to each version of the CD that you purchased. Just in case this wasn't enough, he would also release 2 digital versions of Lifestyle that featured even more exclusive tracks. It's safe to say his plan worked, as Yeat landed his first #1 album on the Billboard Top 200. But at what cost? The album wasn't received too well, and you could tell in the streaming numbers, with the streams only accounting for 29,000 units. And you may be thinking that those aren't bad numbers, but for Yeat, they actually are. This was the lowest amount of streams that Yeat has had since his project Up To Me, which was all the way back in 2021. Things have continued to get worse for this album, as it is now completely fallen off the Billboard Top 200. Which makes it the shortest charting #1 rap album of all time. It was 1 step forward and 2 backwards for the young artist. As on one hand, he has achieved something that is just a dream for most artists, yet on the other, he has harmed his reputation by strongly pushing one of his worst albums in recent times, selling out in order to achieve those heights. And that is the perfect example of the illusion of success. But it isn't just limited to numbers and chart achievements. The Grammys are one of the most prestigious awards that an artist could receive, yet even they can be misleading when it comes to success. Now this isn't intended to discredit any artists that have managed to achieve this feat, but to highlight the flaws with just looking at awards. There are 2 examples of this that perfectly highlight just how misleading the Grammys can be. Let's have a look at the nominations for Best Rap Albums this year. You had Magna Carta Holy Grail by Jay-Z, Yeezus by Kanye West, Nothing Was the Same by Drake, and Good Kid Mad City by Kendrick Lamar. All four of those projects are arguably classics, yet the award went to The Heist by Macklemore. Fans of the genre were bewildered as there was no reasonable explanation for this album to win instead of the others, especially Good Kid Mad City. And Macklemore himself knew this. He would share a text that he sent to Kendrick Lamar on Instagram explaining that even he thought that Good Kid Mad City should have took the Grammy for Best Rap Album. This isn't the only time Kendrick has had a Grammy stolen from him, as he also lost out on the 2015 Album of the Year award to Taylor Swift, whose album 1989 managed to beat To Pimp a Butterfly, which is highly regarded as one of the greatest albums of all time. And if you need one more reason to believe that the Grammys aren't the best way to measure success, take a look at Travis Scott. Massive artist, arguably one of the biggest of the last decade with several highly acclaimed albums, yet the artist has never won a Grammy. And it's not like he hasn't deserved it either. He's been nominated 10 times, and in 2019 he looked like a lock to win Rap Album of the Year with Astroworld, yet somehow he lost out to Cardi B with Invasion of Privacy. This decision was yet another that shook the rap industry, and Travis has been on the hunt for his Grammy to this day. That being said, this is just another reason to not use the Grammys as a way to measure success, as although Travis has never won, it's undoubtable that he is more successful than Cardi B. So what exactly makes an artist successful? Before we define true success, make sure to subscribe to the channel, as the majority of you that watch these videos haven't clicked the button yet. If we consider things like first week sales, #1 albums, and even Grammys to be vanity metrics, how could you ever label an artist as successful? Well, I'd say the most important attribute to have in music is longevity, and this goes for both the artist and their actual music. Have a look at some successful rap artists. Drake, been around for almost 2 decades. Kanye, been around for over 2 decades. Even trap artists like Future have achieved longevity through their timeless music. If you take a look at the charts, you'll find albums that have been out for years still on there. Graduation came out 17 years ago, yet it's still at spot 67 on the Billboard 200. Astroworld came out 328 weeks ago, and it has spent every single one of those on the charts. A wild difference from Yeat and Lifestyle, which spent just 3 weeks on there. When you've created timeless music, the Grammys and #1 albums make sense. And that is what separates artists who have truly achieved greatness with those who are only under the illusion of success.